Hi, and welcome to Voices from Academy. I'm Shameem Saidoo, your host, and with us today, Yousouf Neetoo. Hey, Yousouf, how are you doing?
Hey Shameem, good to hear from you. It's been a while since we caught
Mm,
up on our last podcast. It's been hectic start to the year. Can't complain.
hectic and busy as usual, is it?
Yes. Well, I'm trying to be. We shall. We'll discuss later on in the show.
Of course, of course. For this new edition of Voices from Academy, we are going to have a roundup of year 2020 and look into 2021, what is being reserved for Academy. So, Yusuf, I'll let you get into the details. Let's have a roundup of 2020 so far.
Yeah. What can I say? The situation with the whole COVID-19 has not been easy for everyone. It's definitely one where it's changed a lot of things for us personally and business wise. In terms of business, definitely we've seen an effect in terms of training, but then not only training, just other businesses as well. So a lot of industries have been affected. Probably some more than others, like hospitality and the travel industry. And we're now hoping this is, we're on the final stretch to resuming sort of normal service. The government latest announcement earlier on in the week, suggesting that if all goes to plan with their phase situation or the phased structure, we should be back for June. So I'm hoping this is true. To be honest, I think a lot of people are now bored of the subject of COVID, so we're just looking forward to moving forward. And obviously, we have to thank everyone that's been involved in terms of, especially the NHS and their service during this period, and also the way the whole vaccine has been rolled out, which has been quite effective. And they're looking at a very optimistic target for end of April to offer a vaccine to everyone in the UK, which will be interesting to see. But yes, in terms of Acudemy, well, 2020, like I mentioned, it was especially the first lockdown. It was difficult in the sense of which direction things were going. There was a lot of probably fear and also unknown. So our planning was pretty much up in the air. So one of the things we did well was move all our face-to-face classroom training to virtual, which has been a great transition in honest feedback. We now offer all of our courses on a virtual basis. So when I mean virtual, we mean a virtual live classroom, and the feedback from the delegates have been positive in that sense. We've seen people adapt to online. However, there is still, those people that prefer that whole interaction. So I can see in 2021 when face-to-face become available, I can see there is a demand for it. I guess we'll have to wait and see. In terms of Academy as well, despite COVID situation, we've actually grown the team. So we've taken on 3 members of staff, particularly in the marketing and sales departments. We thought as a business, in terms of strategy wise, it would be ideal to restructure and do some strategic planning, and manpower is probably one area where I felt we could use extra hands to hopefully propel us in 2021 and beyond. Another key milestone for us was in 2020, late 2020, we relaunched our new website, which I'm really pleased about, and feedback has been awesome as well. The great thing is it's a integrated learning management system. So as COVID has essentially adapted people to online learning, so we've had to restructure as well. It's always been something in our pipeline. It just kind of fast forwarded our plans. So we launched this new site whereby people, delegates, can have full integration learning. Particularly at the moment, we're offering the CMI Chartered Management Institute diplomas on the system. It's essentially like an updated version of Moodle, which was very clunky and old, whereas this is a bit more fluidity and in terms of integration with videos and photos, etc. So much more clearer and probably more 21st century. So I'm very pleased with the new website. We're obviously integral part of our plan to growth in 2021 and beyond. So yeah, in terms of 2020 overall, a good year, in the sense that we're still here. We've adapted to the change of the landscape, and hopefully we can push on from there. Another thing is, in terms of personal, we're all safe and well, and a big area that people have been talking about is the whole mental health, which I totally understand, because working from home is never easy, especially if you have kids around, and the whole stop-start situation with lockdowns, etc., hasn't helped anybody. So looking forward to getting out of this situation and just moving forward.
Excellent. So Acudemy hasn't been sleeping even with the COVID-19, and with the new announcement of, say, getting back to the starting line and waiting to start the race again.
Yes, yes, certainly. I think we're all kind of looking forward to putting this 2020 behind us and moving forward.
Yeah, definitely, because we've been, well, for many businesses have been very difficult for the last year, many of which have been closed down, unable to do business. But we had to face I would say the cruel situation out there, and trying to adapt to the new situation of the virtual classroom, as you mentioned earlier. And maybe highlighted even before, we took this time and invested our energy and time and reflection into how we can develop Acudemy into a new platform. So coming 2021 with a new website, very exciting, new courses, new way of doing your course.
Yeah, totally agree. As we touched on, the way we work and the way we learn is now totally changed. In terms of I will see a flexi working route going forward. So meaning people will probably come into the office a couple of days a week and work from home for the rest. Employers will probably be a bit more flexible as well. So I can see definitely a change. And in terms of learning, this will have a knock-on effect. So people will have now probably accepted the whole online route. Not necessarily will always be online, but I can see what I will call a hybrid version. So we'll have a mix of virtual online to complement the classroom. But we shall see how things go and move forward.
Yeah, definitely, of course. Well, I would say all the technology was here waiting, and we had to be waiting for the COVID-19 to come in to be able to get into the virtual meetings, virtual classroom. So at a certain point, we were prepared to maybe waiting like a real situation out there to push everyone towards virtual.
Yeah, it certainly has. I think it's propelled certain businesses, especially things like in Zoom and Teams to how to use collaboration software. And a lot of companies have to adapt. So if they didn't adapt to the change and the way things are, the way things are in terms of how we work, they would have essentially been left behind. So yes, definitely COVID has propelled the use of technology and the way we work as well.
Announcement of the Prime Minister saying that all forms of lockdown will be lifted by the end of June. How do you see we be proceeding forward with training and work in general, I would say?
Yeah, so as I just touched on in terms of the way things will be, I definitely see it will be a hybrid version or a mix of flexi working. In terms of Acudemy personally, we will be carrying all our virtual classes till between now and end of the year as an additional route or learning method. In terms of face-to-face, we will be a bit more cautious in terms of opening this up. We will probably look at late Q3 and look at dates and also look in terms of number of students we can accommodate in a safe environment. I think we will have to check the government guidelines to ensure all precautions are taken. So I can see this will probably the whole situation, even if we do come out of the lockdown in June and everything's open up again in the UK, I still think there'll be a lot of caution and definitely guidance will be here for a while. So we as a team will be planning probably from end of Q3, looking to restart some form of face-to-face classroom interaction. But in the meantime, we'll be definitely offering the whole virtual setup. And then also your self-paced is always going to be there. In terms of courses, yes, 2021, we've launched quite a few new courses that we've added to our portfolio. In terms of the study methods as well, across different study methods. What we will be doing is again looking at growth in that area in terms of specialized courses, and if anything we'll be utilizing the learning management system for these new courses as well.
Yeah, definitely positive on what's going to happen for 2021 with a good deployment of the vaccine across the country and planning by the government to reopen in end of June. So the trust is there for anyone willing to, I won't say getting back to work, but getting back to office, and of course still looking to growing their skills. So training, I'm sure, will be back and everyone will be flying again.
Yes, in terms of the international setup, again, it's still early days because the announcement was earlier this week. So whether international travel, how the government will plan that in terms of making sure, whether you're coming into the country and the whole quarantine process, and also if you're flying out the country and then coming back. So, there's still a lot of questions to be answered, but I guess, it will be in the positive. So hoping that we'll also be able to have our international delegates come into the UK and vice versa. If we're flying out, I believe we had a few clients postponed from, March last year. So we're gearing up and hoping that this, we'll be able to get this into the diary at some point this year.
So Yousouf, any other plans for Acudemy?
Yes, certainly, Shameem. So, part of our strategy for strategy planning for 2020, we've been looking at other methods in terms of learning. And when I mean other methods, I mean clients. So we obviously cater to the commercial side of our delegates, so whether it's professionals or companies and corporates. However, we've also now decided to look at government funding. So when I mean government funding, I mean courses that are funded by the government in terms of learning, life skills, various other employability skills. So ensuring that people maintain a career. So we have recently been approved by Department of Work and Pension, so DWP. We will be looking at other avenues as there is a lot of, shall I say, tenders in this area. So working with the public sector and looking at how we as a organisation can offer another angle. We will be looking at apprenticeship scheme as well. This is a major area that we've always kept an eye on, and we will be pushing ahead once things are available through the government. So becoming a registered approved training provider in this area. That is probably a big thing for us in 2021, which we're looking to secure and have up and running. So hopefully by middle of this year, these contracts essentially will be in place, and we can move forward to complement our commercial side of the business.
We just have all the strategies set into place, so just need to take the actions.
Yeah, certainly. We've got the team, we've got the experienced trainers, we've got the quality material, we have the accreditation, so we've got everything in place. It's just in a way COVID has made us rethink in terms of being a training provider, not to just be reliant on the private sector. And there's a lot of public sector work that we could potentially assist with. So yes, it's just something that we're moving forward with.
Well, that's all for today's episode of Voices from Acudemy. Thank you for listening. Yousouf, it has been our pleasure to have you here today for an update.
Thanks, Shameem. Always a pleasure. Great catching up with you and all our listeners, and hoping we can do some more podcasts in the near future with our guests again.
Of course, 2021 ahead. So join us again on our next webcast when we will be discussing more about different fields of training. Make sure you visit us at acudemy.com and sign into our mailing list. Thank you from your host, Shameem. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.